Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a review on two foundations by Tarte. I know if you follow them on Instagram or if you're in social media and all that, you've seen them lately. I am talking about the Tarte Double Duty Empower Hybrid Gel Foundation, and I'm also talking about the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Foundation. These two foundations just launched basically at the same time. The Double Duty Foundation is a Ulta exclusive, where the Rainforest of the Sea Foundation is a Sephora exclusive, but both of them you can find at the Tarte website. They're both $39, and I was very intrigued by these two foundations because, well, I love foundations first off, but because I was kind of like, why are they launching two foundations at the same time? I thought that was a little weird. So I thought, what makes each one so special? So instead of doing a review for you guys of them separate, I thought maybe I would combine the review and tell you guys which one I like better. So right now, as you're looking at my face, I'm actually using both of them. I am using the Double Duty on my right side, and I'm using the Rainforest of the Sea on my left side. So I don't know how it's looking off on camera. I'll know once I upload the footage. But they're both the same color. I am the color Tan Sand in both, in each one. The color selection for both is not that impressive. I do have to say that I am the second to last darkest shade, which means there's only one shade after me, which is a little bit disappointing because I feel like there should be more selections for darker skin. With that being said, at first with this one, I mixed this and the darker shade because I thought that I was going to have to mix them because the color didn't seem like it was for me. And so I did that right off the bat. I mixed the Tan Sand with the tan, or the Deep Honey, I think is what it's called. And when I mixed it, at glance, it looked really good. But 30 minutes later, you guys, it oxidized and I look like a Oompa Loompa. And if it weren't for my husband telling me, hey, like, you look like a Oompa Loompa, I would have walked out the door that way and not even noticed until I probably saw myself in the mirror. This foundation does oxidize. So if you are somebody, I've never really experienced any foundations oxidizing on me, so that was kind of different. But so I had to go with just the Tan Sand by itself, even though I thought it looked light on me at the beginning. For this one, I bought also the Tan Sand and the darker shade to try to mix them, and a little bit of the same thing happened. It ended up oxidizing on me, not as much as this one, but it did. And so therefore, these two foundations do oxidize a little bit. So really quickly, I'm going to show you guys a demo of how I put them on. The first thing that I did is prime my face with the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. This primer is actually the primer that I use regardless of what foundation that I use. I've gone through so many jars of this. It is the best primer if you have big pores, if you want to blur out or even out your skin, you need this. Then what I did is I color correct. I used the new Rainforest of the Sea. This is a correcting palette. So I used the orange number 1, which is the orange shade, to cover up my dark circles because they've been cray lately. And then I just around the nose, around the lips where I have darker pigmentation and that I want to, color cancel that. And then I use the green to the areas where I have a little bit of redness, which is around the cheeks where a pimple will creep up here and there. And so I used it there. So on the right side, I'm using the Tarte Double Duty Foundation. This is the one that is exclusive to Ulta. This is a poreless full coverage foundation, which has hyaluronic acid. It has a 12-hour power stay. It is oil free. I do gotta say it does last all day, and it is really good. I was really impressed because both of these foundations, even though I have oily combination skin, did not break on me and they lasted, and you almost look matte. So I put this foundation on. It's a little bit thicker, on the thicker side. I love the jar that it comes in, you guys, and I'll get into the packaging a little bit later, but it is a little messy. So I'm putting it on, and I'm using the Tarte, this is their foundation brush, to buff it out. These are the only two foundations I can say that, for me at least, look better buffing it than actually putting it on with a beauty blender, which is normally what I do. On the left side, I use the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. This is a water foundation. So with the dropper, I just put it into the brush, and then I put it directly into my skin. This has an SPF 15, which I normally don't use foundations with sunscreen, so this is a little bit different. Has a 12-hour lasting power. When I first started using foundations, I did use a water foundation, and lately everybody's coming out with water foundations. This is probably the best one that I tried because it has full coverage, it lasts all day, it doesn't break, and for my oily skin, it lasted all day. After I did both sides, I used the Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Concealer and the color Tan. This is a very, 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 very creamy concealer. Just dipping it once, you should cover both eyes and then have some left over. And as you can see, I blended it also with a brush. These water and gel foundations, if you use a beauty blender, it's going to soak up the product a little bit more. So you're going to use more product than necessary. And it's really, I will use a brush with these. So I'm just going to set it. And this is what it looks like. So you can see both colors kind of do match each other a little bit. Probably more so on camera than what they do in person, because in person I can say that the double duty looks a little bit more yellow. So as you can see, this is what, you know, it looks like after it's set. I use a lot of the Rainforest of the Sea, the highlighter. I use the correcting palette to contour. I'm wearing Tarte on the lips. Tarte's one of the brands that I really like, so I wanted to make sure that I tried these products. One of the things that I dislike about the double duty foundation is that when it oxidized on me, that kind of sucked. And the jar, as beautiful as it looks, it's messy. I get it all over my hands, all over. It's very, very messy. It's stunning looking. The jar is stunning looking. I just don't know that it's practical enough. They both have 1 ounce, which is pretty standard for foundations. And for the packaging for this, it's really pretty. Not everybody is into the dropper thing, but I like the dropper thing more than dipping my hand into this. Also for, you know, hygiene issues, I think this is probably the best way to go. The texture of them both feel really nice, but the double duty does actually feel a little bit heavier and stickier on the skin. But they both last around the same time. And they didn't break on me. They have the same lasting power. You don't really have to set it. If you have oily to dry skin, or if you have oily skin, I think this might work on every skin tone, just because I have oily skin, dry patches, but they stayed on. It doesn't enhance any dry patches that I have. It leaves a really flawless canvas. And that went for both of them. Also, when you're picking out the color that you want, if you're like gonna get both of them, even though both of these say tan sand, there is a very slight variance in the color. This one happens to be more yellow tone than this one. There is a slight difference, and I'm not sure why there's a little bit of discrepancy in the color, but just be aware of that. I do have to say that this double duty foundation, the first thing that I noticed after I used it the first day was when I took it off, my skin seemed like smoother. And when I started reading more on it, it's supposed to help your skin. That's why it's called double duty, because it's a foundation, but it's also giving nourishment to your skin, like vitamin C. And I definitely see an improvement every time that I take off my makeup. I'm like, my skin looks better. Versus when you use other foundations, you know, you're like so excited to take it off, and sometimes it can be harsh on the skin. This one works really good. So if you're someone who is looking for anti-aging stuff, or who you're concerned with wrinkles and all that, I would really, 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 really try this. Now this one right here, I don't feel that same, you know, smoothness after I'm done with it, but it does have the SPF, so it will protect you throughout the day. And I think if you're someone who doesn't like heavy foundations and you've been looking for something that's more natural looking but has like good coverage, this might be a good foundation to try. I really enjoyed both of them. If you had to make me choose, I would choose probably the Rainforest of the Sea, only because it doesn't oxidize as much as this. It's not as messy as this. It's more practical, I think, and a little bit goes a long way. I had to use more product on this one, I think, because it's thicker to buff it out than this. If you were wondering what the comparison are, is just really the ingredients and their nutrients inside and what they do, but they're both pretty solid and good on their own. If you're wondering about these items, I do like the correcting palette. I think it's pretty good. I bought this also at Sephora. And then the Rainforest of the Sea, and actually this foundation were sent to me by PR. And I like the concealer, but to me it's not the best concealer. So if there's something you might want to skip from the line, if you're wondering, it'll probably be the concealer. And that is it, you guys. I hope you guys like this review. If you have any questions, please let me know. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you guys later.